Welcome to a special episode of Achievements, where we celebrate the remarkable accomplishments of extraordinary individuals. I'm your host, Abdulatif Lanizi, and tonight I'm joined with my colleague, Fatma Al-Hajri. Good evening, Fatma.
Good evening, Abdulatif, and good evening, dear viewers. As my colleague said, we are your hosts today, and stay tuned after this report.
The things a person has done make up his or her identity. One of the most important ways to measure your success is by looking at your most important accomplishments. Colleagues, competitors, and the general public can tell how successful a person is by looking at what they have done. Most of the time, it pays off to work hard. Most people think that having a lot to be proud is a sign of a successful life. When you finish a task, you beat problems or other people to achieve something. People have to work together to reach a difficult goal. If help is needed, everyone should be ready to pitch in and work together. There are many ways to reach a goal, but in the end, it's up to you to decide how it will affect your life. Some people want to be rich and well known on their jobs. Some people think that even small wins are good reasons to throw a party. We are all different, so we all think differently about everything. In the end though, everyone wants to be happy, and everything you do in life will help you to get closer to that goal.
Welcome back, our viewers. Today we have the privilege of featuring Hiba Al-Qahtani, who achieved an incredible feat of securing the third place in the speedball competition held in France. Hiba, thank you for being here with us at Achievements. We are so glad to have you here.
I'm really happy to be here, and thanks for having me.
It's our pleasure to have you here.
So Hiba, since you have your way on speedball competitions that you had in France, can you tell us what made you interested on the speedball on the first place?
Okay, so it's a quite really interesting story, to be honest. I've been working here in the Ministry of Information, and the one who's responsible about me entering this game was one of my colleagues who actually works here. So Captain Yaqub Dashti is one of the ones who actually is the responsible of having the game here in Kuwait, and he's been achieving, working in this game and trying to present it towards everyone who's really interested, in being athlete and so on. So he always used to tell me after finishing a show that why don't you come after the show to visit one of the clubs that we actually have and try this family and friendly game and sport. So I was like, I don't have time, I'm really busy, I'm trying until, let's say, 2019. I got into the game. I went to have a visit with my family. It was really interesting because the game is so friendly. It's not really difficult. It's not really easy. It's between both. And I was like, it's a kind of a sport that you could actually enjoy your time with. And then it all started from there.
I think that's a very interesting story that actually a colleague got you into the game.
Yeah.
And I saw some of your videos when you went to France, and it was really interesting. I'm sure you had a lot of training, or the training process must have been a little bit hard for you, especially for preparing for the speedball, especially for the competition in France.
Yes. Well, for the first time we attended the championship in Tunisia, and this was, let's say, a hit for us because it was our first participant, especially from my side and my cousins, and we get to know more about the game itself. And then when we came back to Kuwait, we worked really hard in practicing, trying to maintain, that very good pace in trying to maintain what we actually saw in Tunisia in that, let's say, world championship, and then moving on towards France. Now we went to France because we really worked so hard for it and we really practiced a lot, and it was really challenging, wasn't really easy, trying to maintain your time with the family, trying to go to the gym to practice in the court itself. I used to take my child, like I have Maria, she is now 4 years old, she used to go with me there and she used to practice. And one of the reasons that I actually, let's say, made me love this game is the friendly environment we had. Like everyone, when they used to see Maria and the gym itself, they used to be really happy. They used to take her, play with her until I finished my practice and so on. So yeah.
That's a good help for you.
I think that's a really good support system from your team, and it's really, I think even for your kid, she's going to be enjoying herself every time and she wants to play and join you even for the games.
Indeed, indeed.
Also inshallah, when she grow up a little bit, she will have also the same career in a speedball competition if she likes it.
Yes.
So can you tell us about the challenge that you had during your journey and how did you overcome them on your way?
Every step you go in life, there's always a challenge. There's always an obstacle that faces you and you want to, of course, get over it. So when it comes into speedball, I think one of the challenging things that actually faced us is trying to reach towards the level that every player is actually having, because, you know, speedball is really new. When we're talking about it as a sport here in Kuwait, maybe like, let's say for instance, we have Captain Maitham and Captain Jafar, who are actually, let's say, playing in this game for a really long time, but because nobody actually knows about it a lot, made it really, let's say, less for anyone to actually enter. Therefore, the struggle is trying to compete with your age, with different, let's say, players in different age group, and trying to maintain that balance, you know, because it's really difficult when you're starting for 2-3 years and the rest of the players in different countries
since they were young.
Exactly,
like
they play this game since 4 or 5 years.
But you caught up with the game.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. I think
because of course she has the passion about it.
Yes, and I think it's very hard sometimes being a mother and a TV host and also a speedball athlete. So
Indeed.
that takes a lot of time management, and it must have been very hard for you to manage all of that and juggle them around. And I think it's not an easy thing to do, but how did you feel representing your country in an international competition against international athletes from all around the world?
Fatma, like I've never ever thought that I would actually be in a position where I would represent my country, you know, holding the flag, entering once they say Kuwait, looking towards everyone who's actually participating. This was like a dream, you know, like especially when you're working as a host, you always, let's say, get introduced by players, athletes, the one who actually represent Kuwait abroad, and then coming to a time where you're actually becoming one of these. Yeah, and it was really interesting, and I was really proud of, let's say, participating. Whether, let's say, we took a place, a record or anything, just going over there and participating in the name of Kuwait was really something amazing.
And we're very proud of you on that achievement.
We are.
It's really amazing.
Yes, thank you very much.
You're welcome. And I think it's one of the most special things that you have the passion about something. You start really late. I mean, you started 2019. And of course, 2020, it doesn't count because of the COVID. And 2021, half of it only count.
Yes.
So it's like you have only 3 years to 2 years, but you still managed to be a professional at it, go to competitions in France and Tunisia, and you accomplished a lot. Is it because of the passion and how much you love this practice, which is the sports, or because that you always love the challenge and want to be the best of everything?
I think being an athlete actually helped. Like previously, you know, in life, you always practice exercise, you play different varieties of sport. It's not something that, let's say, a new exposure to you. Playing, let's say, for instance, tennis, using the racket, trying to, let's say, explore exercise, different kind of exercise, it actually really helped. Therefore, when it comes into participating and playing speedball, it is a challenging game, but because maybe I love challenge, that's why it grabbed my attention and made me play and persuade in it.
So this is actually one of the reasons that whenever you go touch something, every time, any types of sports, you will be one of the best at it because you love the challenge and you don't like it when you see someone at any place better than you. You always want it to be the best. So can you tell us about also the techniques and the strategies that you feel it's really useful for
even this technique
speedball?
that we're watching right now?
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
when it comes into playing speedball, looking towards this video, this is one of the competitions we actually played, and we won 3rd place in it. This is when it comes into, let's say, because speedball is played into different kind of positions. So you have 4 positions to play speedball. So you have to, let's say, hit the ball with the racket. For instance, you have 30 seconds with your right hand, and then you have a judge who actually counts how many hits did you actually manage to do in 30 seconds. And then moving on towards your left hand, again playing it with the ball in the racket. Then you have the let's say, hitting the ball inside. So you have the 2 rackets and trying to hit the ball
Inwards.
inwards, and then you have backwards. You have to play backwards. So 30 seconds for each, and this is what we actually played in. So I was managing trying to do it with my right hand, and I remember that I told Sayyid Jafar here that, please, I know I'm going to be very slow. I'm going to be, let's say, in the mood and really, let's say, angry. I don't want you to be on my head and like, come on, Hiba, give me the ball. It's like,
Let me
just
focus.
let me be. So that's why there is, let's say, kind of a distance between me and him, because I was like, you know what, you're going to distract me. I have to focus, and I have to maintain that balance that I have in my mind in order for me to do the best that I can. It was really amazing.
You are so competitive. by the
You
way.
can tell, like, from the game,
Yeah.
from the video, you can tell her
Yeah.
she's really focused into the game.
Yeah.
We'd like to know, like, what are some of the key success factors that really contributed for you to get the 3rd place? I'm sure, like,
Yes.
you had a lot of things. One of them, of course, is determination, and you can see she's really focused in the game. So can you tell us more?
I think one of the things we're believing in yourself, though you are competing with different kind of, let's say, athletes who are really into the game for, let's say, a long time compared to us. But I think believing in yourself and having your family support, and maybe also my, because Maria is part of me and the training, therefore she always used to look at me and tell me, like, you're doing your best, and you can see.
I think it's adorable that your kid
Yes.
really encourages you in that
And you
way.
can see how proud she is when you're actually practicing and playing the game. So once I was there, for instance, in the match itself, I was like, you know what? Let's just do it. Like, whether 3rd place, 4th place, any place, we have to do it correctly, and we don't want any mistakes. And I think that was what actually happened in the end.
I think it's one of the most special things, especially when you have your kids coming with you in the competitions and you see them.
Even encouraging her during the
Yeah,
competition.
I
which
think
is
it's really
amazing.
wonderful.
Yes.
Yeah. So can you tell us how did you stay focused during the intense moment and the hard times that you have during the competition? How did you stay focused?
It's there. I have a very funny story to tell you about it, because I played against France, and the French player was really great. Like, she won actually the 1st place, and it was really terrifying, because you are playing in France against their player, and of course the audience want her to win, and it was really like, I had no chance, to be honest, once to play with her, like, say, 1-to-1 position. And I had to have a goal on her, and everyone counted wrong, like, because they were like, no, she can't, let's say, score a goal on the French player. So the judge counted it for her, and I heard the audience of the France audience, the French audience, were screaming like, no, it was a point for Kuwait, not for France. Like, they were with me against their player, and I was like,
Surprisingly good.
wow, I was so happy. It was like, wow, you're supporting me. So the audience is actually really supportive. No matter if you're, let's say, playing against them, they would, let's say, cheer for the best. They would think about how you play, how you score, rather than who's actually playing, So this story that I actually had made me realize how interesting and beautiful this game is, because they weren't cheering against me. They were cheering for the judge, against the judge, for my point, which is actually good for them, because you know what? He's counting it for their, let's say, country.
Yes.
But yeah.
But I think this is a really great spirit for the sports, and I think
Yes.
even for the crowd itself.
I
it
hope that
tells
we
you a
have
lot
that
about
on
the
soccer.
country.
Yes, well, soccer is a different kind of category. You cannot
They
open
can get
soccer.
aggressive, I think.
Yeah.
You can't
not the
open
same.
towards soccer. Like wherever you go, it's globally. You know, it's for our country. But you know, it's people is kind of different somehow. So yeah,
Yeah.
They have a more friendly spirit.
yes.
Of course. And do you have any like mentors or even role models who inspired you in speedball?
Well, to be honest, it's not. There's not let's say a role model, but when you go to each different kind of match, you always look to the players from different kind of countries, and there's always a new role model for you. Like the ones from Egypt are really strong and terrifying because they are the one who actually created this game itself, speedball. And then you have Tunisia, who are really also amazing when playing such game. And then you have the French players. You know, each player is actually different. Even here in Kuwait, like we have, let's say Jafar, when he plays, he's really terrifying, and how he, let's say, react towards the game itself. And then you have the new generation here in Kuwait. You have Maryam, who's really amazing, one of the youngest players who actually play with us in speedball. I used to compete with her here in Kuwait because, you know, we have to practice. And they used to always tell me, if you can beat Maryam 10 scores, then you reach towards a better level. So I always thought that this is something really difficult because Maryam is actually playing this game since childhood. And once I reached towards that level, I was really shocked that I actually reached towards hitting Maryam 10 scores, and was really something I didn't think it would actually, let's say, happen. And yeah.
And why did you think that it would never happen?
Because it's, you know, having that kind of experience. Maryam used to play since a very
she was
young.
10.
Yes, yes.
But of course, but you have this passion
I
that
think you're even
overcome
like
that.
dedicated
And because
towards the
Maryam
game.
is so adorable, you know, like I never thought I'm gonna just hit her with 10 let's say, scores. Like I was like, oh, Maryam, you know what? Take the score. But once I was, let's say, playing with her, let's say, getting into the mood of in the match itself, like everyone used to tell me, how come you cannot beat her 10 scores until now? And I was like, you know what? Maybe because I'm too friendly with her, like having that, you know,
need to be more competitive.
motherly moment, like, oh, Maryam, comparing her to Maria and Talia, you know. So you have to actually, let's say, neglect that part, trying to take it away. One of the things that maybe faced me during this journey is I'm too friendly. Even when I'm playing against any players, it's like, you know, hello, yes, and it's a friendly match,
do it,
you know?
like for fun. I
Yeah,
don't want to get
yeah.
too competitive.
Yes.
Not here to win. I'm here to enjoy the game.
Yeah, so this is one of my problems if we're talking about, let's say, speedball. I have to, let's say, divide, let's say, just take it away. Stop being friendly.
Of course, I think this is one of the keys to this
Yes.
game. And you're also an athlete and mother, and of course, you're working with us in the
Yes.
TV media. And can you tell us, like, how do you manage your time? How do you divide your time?
Yeah, a lot of people actually do ask me this question because, you know, you see us through social media and Instagram, let's say any kind of platform. People would see your life like you go to work in the morning and then you end up being with your kids, going back again to work, and then going back to a training. So I think one of the most important things is trying to find the balance. If you are passionate about something, you're always going to have that balance in you, and
You're always going to have the time
yes,
for it.
and doing the time. Actually, you're going to, let's say, grow time, because time is never enough. 24 hours is not really enough for doing a lot of things in your life. If you want to achieve a lot of things in your life, you have to, let's say, make time.
Of course.
Therefore, you have to divide it. Therefore, you have to, let's say, sacrifice a lot. But in the end, you don't want to sacrifice the time with your family and your children. You want to sacrifice, let's say, some of the, maybe because we're really social person, we have friends gatherings, family gatherings, maybe try to sacrifice these kind of moments a little bit and focus about your family and you. Because this is what we actually maybe have in our life, is we keep people like our friends, the family gatherings in front of us, and then us in the end. So maybe try to find that balance, try to not let anyone get sad or angry, but at the same time try to make benefit out of it.
Thank you.
Of course, I think that's a really amazing advice, and I think everyone could really benefit from that. Hiba, I think we still have a lot more questions for you, but dear viewers, we'll take a short break. Stay tuned after this report.
Hiba Al-Qahtani is a Kuwaiti speedball player. She has achieved an incredible accomplishment by securing the third place in the speedball competition held in France. Hiba started her passion of speedball in 2019. She has managed to spend most of her free time practicing her hobby. Moreover, Hiba appreciates the support she receives from her family and friends. She is a passionate player that strives to improve herself in the future. Hiba also manages to stay focused on achieving new goals and targets. She also works hard in order to participate in several upcoming competitions and tournaments. During her competition in France, she has practiced almost day and night in order to achieve her dreams. She has also set for herself several goals that she would like to achieve for the near future. She has won the third place during the competition in France and managed to raise the flag of our beloved country Kuwait and makes us proud. Certainly, this is something to be proud of and honored. Hiba is passionate and talented about the favorite sport she plays. She also appreciates that her daughter also joins her during her practice time and continues to support her. Assuredly, family support is very important and helps in cheering the player. Hiba also stays focused in order to make her future plans come true. She has faced many different challenges that has shaped her in the speedball player she is today. Hiba discovered her love and passion to speedball recently. However, she has managed to reach a very far place and overcome challenging competitions. Hiba is unique in her own way. She follows specific techniques that allow her to win over her opponent. Hiba, you are truly talented and one of a kind. We can't wait to see more of your honoring achievement. Keep up the great work.
Welcome back, our viewers, as we continue our interview with our guest, Hiba Al-Qahtani. So, Hiba, can you tell us if you have any types of advice about the athletes who are about to start their career as a speedball or any types of sports?
So the most important thing, never ever think about your age, because a lot of people think that you know what, I reached towards my 30s, 40s, I cannot do any kind of exercise. So age is not a big problem when it comes into most of the exercise and workout. Always believe in yourself. If you have, let's say, time and you want to fill it with any kind of sport, go ahead. Never ever hesitate, because hesitation is one of the most, let's say, difficult thing that actually makes you less in life. Therefore, never hesitate, always take a chance. Try to explore the word of sport and exercise, because people would consider, let's say, you know what, I want to be a gymnastic, let's say. Gymnastics should be, let's say, started from a very young age, but now we can see actually some gyms are actually opening for a certain age to come and try this kind of sport, because in the end it needs flexibility. So no matter how old are you, maybe you have, let's say, you're so flexible as, let's say, an 8 or 10 years old child. Therefore, never ever hesitate in going and trying any kind of sport.
I think this is a very important thing. You actually have to try, give it like a chance.
Yes.
Sometimes a lot of people are hesitant when it comes to that kind of thing, but they really should pursue what they love, like enjoy it. Even like maybe it will work out, maybe not, try something else until you find what's right for you.
Indeed.
And of course, there's a lot of lessons and skills you've learned from speedball. So can you share some of the things that you learned so far?
Yes, so I'm not a patient person. I always like everything in speed. Therefore, this game made me so patient and trying to, let's say, gain the knowledge, gain the way that we actually can play and practice, how to hit the ball with the racket, how to control your anger if you cannot, let's say, win a match, or you cannot, let's say, do certain movements, because though it is an easy game, but it is really difficult because it has lots of movements where you actually have to run towards it, towards the ball itself, and trying to hit it in a certain way. You know, there's lots of tricks. Like there's also some angles, like if you hit it in this angle, then it could actually get reversed to the player, that you can change the ball position and you will let the player run from side to side. So these kind of things that actually, let's say, faced me during my journey. Therefore, I think one of the most important things that I gain is being patient and trying to concentrate as much as I can.
Of course. And did you have like any setbacks during your journey from learning and even in competitions? Because as an athlete, as you mentioned, there's a lot of things you have to tackle, like being patient, and especially when they put the ball and you hit them in a different direction. That can be a little bit exhausting, going all around the place just to hit the ball.
Yes.
So can you tell us about these kind of setbacks that you had?
I think one of the things that faced me is because we can play this game as a single player or as a duo with a female or a male, or let's say being a team of 4. So one of the things that actually faced me is playing with a left-handed player. Therefore, when she's playing with the racket, she'll be using her left hand, while for me, I'll be using my right hand, and we have to play in certain position. So one of the things that actually faced me is she was trying to guide me through the match itself, and I was so concentrating on the ball itself that I actually hit her with the racket on her hand because of the positions, you know, because she's a lefty, I'm a right side. So I was like, you know what? And she was like, you know, that's it. We're not going to discuss anything during the match, because she's saying, you know what, Hiba, hit it from that side. And I was like so focusing, and I just hit the ball, and I didn't realize that I actually hit her with the racket itself. So I think these are,
and that can be a little bit painful.
Yes, it was painful. Like for instance, if you got hit by a ball, you'll never feel that any bruises or any pain until you finish the match, because the amount of bruises that you actually get through this, let's say, softball that actually hits you really hard and really bad, like it gets swollen, it becomes really with a lot of bruises, like blue and purple.
And it happens most of the times?
Yes, it happens because you don't realize it's really fast, and you have to hit it really fast. So if you're a little bit slow, it's going to hit your hand with that speed. You're going to be, you're going to get some bruises.
So do you have like something to wear to cover you from these
gloves?
Well, wearing gloves will, let's say, make a little bit difficulty in trying to control the racket itself,
yes.
you know, because, you know, you can't feel the racket as much as you can with the gloves itself. So, yeah.
So that makes it a little bit harder, because I didn't know about the Kirby injuries in this
the
sport.
bruises.
I mean, you're just standing and you try to hit the ball and concentrate about the ball and where it goes. You try to hit it. I mean, it really needs much of focus. And I didn't know that you also have some injuries about that.
Yes, and even when it comes into that, like, we don't want to say that it's a severe injury, but I think because it's a racket game, you know, you have to run, there's some bounces, therefore you have the joints, you know. So even the joints could actually, let's say, have some kind of difficulties and problem when it comes into, let's say, using them incorrectly, trying to bounce from a place to another, not having, let's say, stable legs while you're, let's say, standing. Like, I do a lot of jumps in this game, and everyone used to tell me, you don't need to jump when you're hitting such certain, let's say, height of a ball. I was like, because of the excitement, you know,
yes,
like, you have to
really
jump
excited
while you're giving it. So yeah, I think one of the difficulties, or let's say injuries that face you during this game is the bruises themselves. Like, this is the most #1 injury that face you. Sometimes even when you hit the ball so close, the line itself could go around your hand or your finger, and it gets really tough, you know, trying to take it all out. So yeah.
So, well, actually, that's a good thing to know, that the injuries is not that bad, alhamdulillah, because in soccer and any other types of sports, the injuries could be a little
severe,
bit severe. So, can you tell us about your future in speedball, and about your next goal, and what step that you are going to take to achieve these goals?
Yes. So far, we are going to compete in the second, let's say, upcoming World Championship in speedball, which is going to be held in Turkey. I'm not mistaken, it will be in October. So I think the focus will be on practicing, trying to maintain that kind of sense of being able to participate in such game. I've taken a judge certificate in this game, therefore I could be a referee in certain occasions. My cousins actually participated in being a referee for the first time in their first World Championship in Tunisia, and it was really amazing to see them actually as referees and judges, asking the help of the players who are well known and have this certificate to be part of being a judge. Because in this game, if you want to be a referee and you're going to count for, let's say, individual players, there are certain players who are really, really high in speed and hitting the ball that you cannot even see the ball. So instead of having one referee, you have to have 2 or 3 for them to count correctly the amount of balls that could be hidden within the 31 minutes. So I think for the future, as we said, is trying to compete for the upcoming championship, and also maybe to be, let's say, one of the referees that they could use in such a championship.
Hopefully
That's
we'll
a
get
good
to
thing.
see that, and we do wish you the best of luck in Turkey.
Thank you so much.
That's really special, and of course, inshallah, you will achieve it and you will come back as the first person on there, inshallah, having the gold medal. But can you tell us about how do you want to contribute on promoting this sports here in Kuwait?
Yes.
Because as we know, this sport is not that not everyone knows about it.
It's not
Unfortunately,
really popular.
Yeah.
Right. So I think one of the things that we should actually do is try to increase awareness at schools, like going towards schools, giving them some seminars about this game, presenting it to the education system itself, trying, I think, to do some public events, because as we know that people do like public events. Now this game is actually one of the games that they used to play it on the beach in Egypt. Therefore, I think if we do such events on the beach itself, it would be really interesting, because in the end, we here in Kuwait are so aware when it comes into taking care of ourselves and playing some new sports. Now, this game is actually, let's say, maybe not well known between players that you could actually come and play and participate in different kind of, let's say, championships. But if you ask elders about this game, they would actually know it, because it is one of the old games that was presented through Egypt itself, and people who travel there would actually have been associated with it. If you go to certain, let's say, toy stores in Kuwait and you go towards the section where they sell sport equipment, you will see that speedball is one of the things that is actually provided with all of the gadgets, all of the setups, but people are really, let's say, not familiar with it that much. So again, I think school awareness, having public events would help to encourage the sport.
Of course, and I think we have reached the end of our time, unfortunately, Hiba, but we would like a word of encouragement for anyone who is watching us right now, especially wanting to join any type of sports, a new sport, a hobby.
Yes. So of course, in the end, I think believing in yourself is very important. Never keep age as an obstacle. You can practice no matter what exercise, sport you want. Being a championship also is something very, very acceptable in different kind of age. So I think just believe in yourself and go ahead.
Thank you so much. I think that's a really beautiful and amazing advice.
It is. Thank you, and thank you for that, Hiba, and thank you for being here with us. We are so glad to have you. And to you, our dear viewers, we want to express our sincere gratitude to Hiba Al-Qahtani for sharing her incredible journey with us.
Of course, and Hiba, you dedicated resilience and passion for speedball, and truly is admirable. And thank you, dear viewers, for watching. We really hope you enjoyed this episode of Achievements. Hope to see you again. Goodbye for now.
Goodbye.